The series is over. Boston is going to win the series. This needs to be said. There is a difference between how, and this is key, how a successful business operates and why it's successful. There's a how and a why. Kevin Durant and Kyrie, they get the how. They've been on championship teams. I mean, Kevin Durant with the Warriors for 3 years. He gets how it operates, but KD and Kyrie, they don't get the why. They're clueless. They just think, hey, couple hoopers. Throw us together, man. Couple great hoopers. We're friends. It doesn't matter who coaches. Steve Nash, Steve Kerr. Let's just get a guy named Steve who used to coach in the league and was a guard. Bench play, system. Come on, man. These guys went in a podcast and literally before the season, 3 years ago, said this.
Coach, he said I was the first person to call him Coach Nash, but I call him Steve. Steve is great, and I have a relationship with him that's going to build over time, bro. And I think it's also going to change the way we see coaches. I don't really see us having a head coach. You know what I mean? Like KD could be a head coach. I could be a head coach.
Jacques Vaughn could do it one day. It's a collaborative effort, I think, on our part.
They really believe that. They really believe that. They're clueless. They don't get the why. They get the how. How does it work? But you got to give it a little time beyond yourself. Sit down and think, why does it work? There's a reason Golden State and the Bulls and the Showtime Lakers worked. People sacrificed of themselves. Kareem and Magic had to figure out totally different personalities. How do we give to ourselves and of ourselves? Draymond Green, Steph Curry, selfless, plans, able to be coached hard, to be confrontational and work through problems. Let's be totally frank. The Brooklyn experiment is a massive failure. 3 years, 2 first-round exits, a second-round exit, no chemistry, no plan, and a head coach, I'm told Steve Nash is over it, all the drama. But KD and Kyrie didn't want a plan. They don't want to be coached. They don't even think they need a coach. And this is the mess you're left with. And it's interesting, right? Because KD and Kyrie, they kind of rolled their eyes at the rest of the league. They leaned into being villains. But they're lousy villains. Even movie villains. They antagonize the cops. They antagonize the good people. They antagonize law enforcement. And Darth Vader and the Joker. And it works for hours and days and years. But in the end, the good guys foil the bad guys. Law enforcement wins. These guys are terrible villains. 10 minutes into the movie, they got foiled. Like, yeah, you guys didn't have much of a plan there yet. There they are. They're the bad guys. Put them. They're bad. Movie's over. It'd be a 10-minute villain. They had no plan. They don't want to be coached. I mean, it's embarrassing. Anybody could coach us. What coaching does, and you're seeing it now, great coaching not only elevates players, but KD and Kyrie are great. We know that. But a great coach hides your flaws. McVay hid Goff's flaws, right? Belichick could elevate Tom Brady. Make sure Dante Scarnecchia, Tom's not terribly mobile, doesn't like to get hit. Keep the 75-year-old offensive line coach. The great coaches hide your flaws. And Kevin's not terribly physical. He's not a soft player. He's not. He plays defense. Kevin's not soft, but he's not terribly physical. And Boston, with a great young coach, knows it, recognizes it, and is slapping it all over and pushing it in his face. And they don't run any plays. It's called rec center basketball. They don't run any plays. Kevin's left to himself. Kyrie's left to himself. And Kevin doesn't like that constant physicality and pushing, and he's out of sorts. His ball handling's off. That's where a great coach comes in. That's where a plan comes in. So when KD, multiple screens, high screens, pick and rolls, they don't have a plan. And I'm not sure they want a plan. I'm not sure they want to be coached. I mean, hell, they said, I'm listening, we don't need a coach. Kevin Durant, it's failed. We're 3 years in, it's failed. KD after.
They're doing a good job of, trying to cut off my scoring, trying to limit my shot making. So they 2 or 3 people contest, or somebody there in the lane when I'm driving. They might double here and there. So they're doing a good job. They're going to need to figure it out.
By the way, in the second half, good luck figuring it out. Kevin Durant was 0 for 10 with 4 turnovers. The guys combined shot under 31%. So it's just not something you can tweak. They are completely flummoxed. They didn't need a coach. It's absolutely failed. So I want to talk about Chris Middleton got hurt for the Milwaukee Bucks. That is not good. I still think they win the series, but it's not great. The Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan's a fascinating player. He's an L.A. kid, wanted to be a Laker, didn't work out, so the Bulls get him. But years ago in the NBA, it was about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, everybody fell in love with the analytic 3-ball, right? And DeMar DeRozan was always super athletic, super good dude, but he shot twos. He's a mid-range guy. So everybody thought DeMar DeRozan went through this cycle 6 or 7 years where he's one of the most athletic guys in the league, totally coachable, total baller, tough, relentless, fearless, gamer, mid-range maven. Yeah, but he doesn't shoot threes. He's just athletic, doesn't shoot threes. And one of the things that drives me nuts about the NBA regular season is that it's lazy. There's too many games. Players are exhausted. It's just 3-ball, 3-ball, 3-ball. It's the easiest offense. Come down, shoot it up. But playoff basketball, everybody's equally rested, equally tired, and intensity wins. And the game becomes very situational. And DeMar DeRozan, situationally, is a hell of a player. And the Chicago Bulls team, they don't shoot a lot of threes. They're very good situationally. They've got guys that can get a bucket and guys that can get a stop. And that's really important in playoff basketball. It's why regular season NBA to me is an eye roll and why playoff basketball is completely consumable. The NBA regular season, guys are tired. The rest isn't equal. They come down and play lazy basketball. Come down, shoot a three, back up on defense. But when you play situational basketball and get mid-range jumpers on the baseline and you miss it, you got to get back on defense. It's hard, and DeRozan's great for that. And he was a forgotten player. Athletic, can't shoot. San Antonio moves on. People move on. Lakers, no thanks. And now this is what he is. Perfect playoff guy. It'd be nice if he could shoot more threes, but the Bulls don't. They're kind of old school. They shoot a good percentage, top 5 in the league, but they don't shoot a lot of them. But they've got get-a-bucket guys, and DeRozan is their best get-a-bucket guy. You know, it's funny about baseball. Everybody always talks about the analytic people, like 5-tool players. You know who the 2 best young players in baseball are? Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Juan Soto. They don't run that well. They don't play very good defense. They hit and hit with power. They're 2-tool guys. They do something great, and that's DeMar DeRozan. He's not the perfect analytic player. He just gets stops and he gets buckets. And basketball gets very situational in the playoffs, right? Like the game slows down. It's not as lazy. It's not just every possession becomes very important. Because in playoff basketball, the arenas are packed. In playoff basketball, fans are standing opening tip. So what you have to avoid are going on these long runs, and it's like a 12-0 run, and the momentum is huge, and you're like, DeMar, we need a bucket. He gets one. The other guy's going an 8-0 run. DeMar, we need a stop. He gets one. That's Kawhi Leonard. That's why he's so valuable. Kawhi in the regular season, he's barely available. In the playoffs, stop and bucket. He's fantastic. So last night, and I saw it ruined Dwight Howard's career. He was a back-to-the-basket center, and suddenly the league's like, yeah, that doesn't work. Dwight just careened out. DeRozan similarly was going through this about 5 years ago. But people are just like, he can't shoot threes. You got to be able to shoot threes. He's athletic. He plays hard. He's kind of fearless. Yeah, I know, but he doesn't shoot threes. And I feel like the NBA's figured out this whole analytic thing. I mean, we're all learning analytics, right? Like baseball every couple years adds an analytic. Football now is everybody's going for it on 4th down. They weren't 3 years ago. We're like figuring these analytics out. And in basketball, I feel like the forgotten mid-range player, like the Chris Paul and the DeRozan, we're all like, yeah, like just hoisting up threes. You know, sometimes you just need a dude. You just need a dude. By the way, the Celtics were terrible shooting threes last night. Brooklyn was better. Boston won. Good for DeMar.